Okay, so this will be the part 2 of my discussion about strategic human resource management and employee relations. How about the modules cover the strategic choice? Well, there are similarities in the concept covered in the previous discussion on institutional theory and the role of human agency. With the notion of strategic choice receives a much broader treatment in the study of strategic management. Keeping in line with the pluralist approach adopted in this discussion, this examined the application of concepts from strategic management literature and apply this to SHRM and ER. One mustn't forget that strategy is not just the exclusive domain of management. Even unions and other forms of employee associations have strategies, which can have a profound impact in shaping the nature and extent of employment relationship and a range of employment outcomes. Additionally, for firms to grow, not only do they exercise strategic choices in terms of their business, competitive and functional strategies, additional strategic choices are available to firms to operate in new markets and seek growth through different strategic choices in each. While one dominant view in line with planning school of strategy is that firms and its leaders exercise strategic choices based on a systematic and rational analysis of their internal and external environments. Another view from the organizational theory focuses on the theoretical lenses of sociology and social philosophy. The central idea of this latter view is that managers and leaders in organizations play a critical role in influencing the organization by making strategic choices. This is essentially a dynamic and political process. The role of human agency is navigating through the political processes is a powerful one, as rationality and sometimes gets challenged in people, especially leaders engaged in such process. It may sometimes exercise choices that serve their vested interests. And the study of this process must be context-specific, as each organization has its unique historical and path dependence and organizational learning processes that have been developed in response to each external environment over a period of time. So further, each organization will have its own intensity of political and power exchanges between the key and diverse set of stakeholders. Hence, by implications, firms offer some differentiation in any institutional environment. However, harnessing this in a positive way for sustained competitive advantage is often a political process, and in some cases, such a process may not yield the most desirable results. The multiple theoretical foundations that are generally applied to the study in practice of strategic human resource management and employee relations, one could argue that the one best way or universalistic approaches are inherently problematic, as the role of context, institution, human agency, and other contingency variables play a critical role in shaping the final HRM practices. While best fit RBV, institutional and strategic choice approaches offer more hope and flexibility in their logic. And we can argue that it is neither possible nor practicable to incorporate in an organization cognitive frame all the possible contingent variables, their interrelationships, and path dependencies so as to establish a clear path for implementing the most appropriate set of human resource management practices to support the Human Resource Management Performance Link by Parcel. The logic of theory practices unfortunately does not exist. What we do have, however, are a number of alternate approaches and explanations that need to be used in a phronetic manner, even though we know that phronesis or practical wisdom is often hard to develop and requires the investigator to be also mindful vested interests and power and politics at play in any organizational context. The role of human agency is in navigating and negotiating through this is a challenging enterprise, but something we must endeavor and continue to explore and develop for wider benefit of the field. Key question and learning activities. Question number 1. Explain how strategic impact the nature and extent of human resource practices. Number 2. What human resource management skills are necessary for realizing value while exercising strategic choice in relation to mergers and acquisitions. Number 3 question. In an M&A context, discuss whether the use of a common language at the target firm by the bidder firm is better strategy for ensuring a successful post-merger integration. Another module is about professionalism and ethics. Up to this point, the preceding discussions have offered some major theoretical foundation of SHRM and ER. The profession of HR expert, its community and practicing members to possess certain core HR competencies. HR manager must learn and follow a code of practice that is acceptable to the profession and society they operate in. Almost each country has its HR professional body, though some nations have adopted or simply transferred the US or UK professional body competencies models to their context in a bid to emulate global best practices. I just want also to focus on the HR practitioner, the competencies they need, and the good professional ethics they must apply in their day-to-day workings. The field of applied ethics such as HRM must be viewed in practice as one that is built upon ethical foundation. The development of competency framework and codes of conduct, although sets in place institutional isomorphism, the questions remain: how can we ensure all HR practitioners conduct themselves ethically in a manner that satisfies the needs of the professional body in their employing organization? While it is certainly possible that the two can be achieved in some, if not all situations, a more pressing point is whether practitioners are able to engage in critical thinking in mid-career. Can we teach critical thinking to someone at a later stage in life? Can ethics be taught? These are some of the questions the field has some but not full answers to. A similar question was put forth by Plato to Socrates. Can you tell me, Socrates, whether arete is something that can be taught, or is it not taught but acquired by practice? Or is it neither acquired by practice not learned, by does it arise in people by natural aptitude or in some other way? Plato and Meno mention. The literature presents competing views whether ethics can be taught. A key point to remember is that most HR strategies evolve because of ongoing negotiation and political process between various stakeholders and the way managers interpret the circumstances around them. Ethical consideration must be kept in mind in such processes. Key question. Question number 1. Explain what is meant by the term business ethics as applied to the study in practice of human resource management and employee relations. Number 2, identify an ethical dilemma for each of the following human resource practices and comment how you would resolve each of the identified ethical dilemmas. So for letter A is performance management, 2 training and development, 2 rather, the number 3 workplace change. Question number 3. Comment on the effectiveness of the use of a professional code of conduct by human resource professional body organization. In your view, do members at this institution see this as a requirement for upholding professional ethics or an unnecessary imposed? The next module or topic is the HR profession in design and implementation of strategic human resource management and employee relations practices. Of course, this module focuses on a strategic application of functional human resource management and ER practices. It focuses on 2 key preliminary HRM practices, the work design and human resource planning, which are core elements of an individual's employment life cycle and trigger recruitment and selection. Appropriate work design choices must suit the business needs so one can decide how to plan the resourcing of people needed for the jobs they must perform. The nature of work design ranges from a control-oriented to a commitment-oriented continuum, wherein firms can decide and plan for how they can balance the goal of organizational flexibility and autonomy with control. A key consideration of human resource managers, following a discussion on strategic human resource planning and work design, and this briefly consider the strategic approaches to recruitment and selection. Because the importance of getting the right people with right skills in a timely manner is vital for uninterrupted performance of a firm's production function. In some other industry that are more people-intensive, such as in the service industry, performance of human resource planning, impacts of recruitment and selection practices have a profound impact on a firm's bottom line. In the longer term, for gaining sustained levels of commitment from its employees, firms need to ensure they offer a job value proposition and that is appealing to not just the new entrants but also to their existing employees. Strong employer branding exercises and developing a parallel set of talent pool will ensure a steady supply of talent. However, to achieve job, organization, culture, and people fit, the HR practitioner will need to employ a combination of hard and soft approaches for optimal results. Questions. Key question and learning activities. Question number 1. What are the main options available to line and human resource managers when they discover a mismatch between the job organization fit with the person they have hired? Question number 2. Outline 3 advantages of person-job fit and person-organization fit. Question number 3. Outline 3 disadvantages of person-job fit and person-organization fit. Next module is about strategic performance and commitment management. A quick way to ascertain how well the performance management system of an organization is working from a strategic perspective is to ask multiple employees their understanding of the organization's strategy, its goals, key performance indicators, and how employees think they are contributing to the same, of course, by Busili. Next, verify this understanding with the senior management team. one would most likely find gaps in understanding of expected and actual performance. There are many reasons for this. Performance is a multifaceted and multi-level concept and thus needs attention. At least at two very distinct levels. Of course, a micro, individual level, and a meso level or organizational system level. And how high performance is achieved at each level. And of course, many have attempted to unlock the performance or the black box from multiple disciplinary perspective, including from HR perspective. With an increasing interest and sophistication in research design, which focus on multi-level and multi-respondents explanations of performance, there is some comfort in agreeing that a combination of certain HR and management practices can contribute to sustained levels of organizational level performance. The performance HRM link, though on a strong footing with a plethora of studies pointing to its positive association with performance. It requires further research from under-researched geographical contexts, especially from emerging markets, which can further test the evidence base. Also, scholars are beginning to challenge whether it is possible to sustain the tested frameworks in today's neoliberal and managerial approaches. This burning question is logical as there are signs of weakness in the dominant capitalist logic with declining levels of employee well-being and health outcomes, especially when firms continue to implement high-performance work designs and do not effectively balance the demands such practices place on its human resources. Okay, key question and learning activities. From your study of organizational behavior, critically evaluate the contribution of any two theories that are relevant to the study and practice of performance management. Question number 2, critically evaluate the contribution of human resource management performance link in the wider literature of strategic human resource management and employee relations. Number 3, compare performance appraisal system from multi-source performance feedback approaches. And this is the end of part 2. So we may proceed to part 3 later.